Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello, call me soccr. I am the ghost of Bluesky and video game podcast Discord servers, and I'm here today to talk about Arctic Eggs, a game I cannot get out of my head. The game Arctic Eggs begins with just you, a skillet, and an egg. You cook first one side, and then the other. The real trick, and the crux of the entire game, if we're honest, is the flip. How subtly, how precisely you can flick the wrist will determine your success. The game takes place in a compound in Antarctica. If you're like me, you'll probably raise an eyebrow at the Arctic-Antarctic contradiction in the title off the bat. But don't worry, there is an in-game explanation for the contradiction. Also, I wouldn't recommend getting too hung up on the game making complete sense. Arctic Eggs is more of a poem than a story. None of the characters are boring. Can you fry an egg atop Mount Everest? Some of them wonder this. They'll muse and dance and argue and reminisce. And despite the lack of voice acting, all of them have something to say. Many of them have body parts that look prosthetic or some kind of device connected to their nose or mouth. Most of them are hungry for something in particular. In Arctic Eggs, food is scarce, and you must cook to earn your freedom. Things are left vague, but you're given the impression that things didn't work out so well for the last fry cook. In specific terms, you have to satisfy the appetites of 27 different people scattered around the compound to be granted access to the final boss, so to speak. The Saint of Six Stomachs, he's called, a demanding overlord with the authority over your deliverance. You'll wander along the interconnected balconies of tall buildings, the docks of fisheries, the bar stools of eateries, the tables of a dance club, and the metal cages lining the walls of a prison hold, each place filled with melancholy and idle people. The sub-areas of the game each have their own atmosphere. The outdoor areas are speckled with a light, persistent snowfall. The music is diegetic, gentle, inconspicuous, and jazzy. Each area also has its own special challenges, special ingredients that add a twist or an obstacle to the basic strategy. The challenges iterate gradually the deeper you go, inconspicuously tutorializing new elements, working up to greater challenges without getting too over the top. Or if they do go over the top, it's rare enough that you'll likely have the option of skipping that particular client. I will not be giving any tips here, and I do have some, because the magic of the game is the trial and error. Sometimes your egg, or your fish, or your bacon, or whatever else you're asked to cook, will bounce barely a millimeter from the pan when you go to flip. Sometimes the contents of your pan will fly away comically off screen or into the distance, and the difference in inputs to achieve these disparate results feels minuscule. I've even watched speedrunners struggle. Each challenge allows you infinite attempts, and there are no timers. Sometimes there are timers, but they're not that bad. I am decidedly not a completionist when it comes to video games. I pride myself on a lack of trophies and achievements. I skipped some things that were giving me trouble, but when I neared the end of Arctic Eggs and found that I'd finished all but 3 of the challenges, I couldn't resist going back to conquer them. Did I add an extra hour to my playtime? Yes. Did I swear loudly in my living room late at night? Also yes. Did I surrender to hopelessness and spiral into existential torment? Look, I regret nothing. Categorically, if someone called Arctic Eggs a Fadian rage game, I wouldn't be able to disagree. All I can say is that every moment of frustration, for me, was far outweighed by the satisfaction of success. And I am not a Dark Souls guy. The primary feeling I had while playing was zen. I was completely immersed in the act and the moment, purely mindful. I don't know how to sell you on this game. By all accounts, Arctic Eggs is fiddly, low poly, and weird, but when I think back, each of these qualities feels more like a strength than a weakness. The fiddliness is the whole challenge, the low poly graphics contribute to the surreal aura of the environment, and the weirdness brings a whimsy to the game that ties the whole thing together. It was instantly one of my favorite games. If you find yourself up for an unconventional experience and are willing to steel yourself against inevitable failure, I highly recommend Arctic Eggs. I won't give away the particulars of the final boss, but I will say that the gameplay in Arctic Eggs ends the same way it begins. Just you, a skillet, and an egg. You cook first one side, and then the other. Happy gaming.
Do you find yourself playing older games and wishing that there were new discussions about those games? Enter Tales from the Backlog. Hi, I'm Dave Jackson, and on each episode, I'm joined by a guest to break down those games that may be stuck in your ever-expanding backlog. Each episode looks at one game in depth, focusing on mechanics, story, music, and other aspects with no spoilers until a clearly marked spoiler wall in the middle. If you've played the game, go ahead and climb that spoiler wall and enjoy in-depth story discussions, and if not, jump out when we warn you and maybe go play that game for yourself. We have over 100 episodes in the feed, everything from Disco Elysium to Tunic to discussion episodes about how to get into horror games, and if games actually need to be fun, or if they have more to offer. I guarantee that there's something in there for everybody. Once again, that's Tales from the Backlog, available wherever your podcasts are found.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.